Well, get ready to rev up those engines. Rolling to Remember is just over a week away. It's a Memorial Day weekend event that succeeds the Rolling Thunder Ride. It was held annually for 3 decades. And if you didn't know, Rolling to Remember is a motorcade of past and present military members advocating for suicide prevention and remembering those missing in action. It almost didn't happen this year after the Pentagon denied a permit for 50,000 motorcyclist parking spaces. Then Mayor Muriel Bowser gave permission for the cyclists to gather at RFK Stadium ahead of the event. For more on the story, we're happy to welcome Congressman Brian Mast of Florida. He's also a veteran. Good to see you, Congressman. This has been quite an interesting story here because it almost didn't happen. And before Mayor Bowser stepped up and allowed for it to take place, you lobbied hard to make sure it did happen. Why is this event so important to you?
There's only one way that those that gave their lives in defense of our country, that they continue to live on. And this couldn't be more serious. They live on with how we remember them, how we learn from their actions, what they did in life, the way they defended their country, the way they sacrificed. That's how they live on. And if we as a nation don't do everything that we can, not just on Memorial Day, but every other day, to make that effort to remember what they did, we're failing. We're failing those that get to learn from them, and we're failing their legacies. We're failing their families who live without them. And that's a failure that our country should never stand for.
Yeah, clearly such an important event. Glad to hear that it is indeed happening. You'll be there, correct?
I will be with all of my own people at probably a dozen different Memorial Day events down in Florida. So I'll be in Florida Memorial Day there, veterans cemeteries and places with my fellow veterans in my area.
All right. Do what you can, of course, to remember those who've served and defended this nation. Want to talk to you about another subject that's making some news. We know that recent CDC guidance says that if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need a mask indoors or outdoors. That's coming from the CDC. But in Congress, that's not necessarily the case. In fact, you tweeted this out saying that Speaker Pelosi had fined you for $500 for, get this, following CDC guidance. This was never about science. It has always been about power. So, Congressman, you are facing a $500 fine. Tell us what you did to get that fine.
I simply went to the floor of the House of Representatives to do what we do, vote on things, speak on the floor about different legislation. And while I was down there, they said, hey, are you going to put a mask on? No. Are you sure? Can we get you one? The Sergeant at Arms staff, they're doing what they're told. They didn't want to hammer me on this, but Pelosi is making them do this. They said, then we're going to have to fine you. And I said, that's okay. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But I'm not wearing a mask anymore, and that's just it.
And you weren't the only Congress member to participate in taking off the mask. Did you get any other responses from people who decided to keep on their mask and were maybe offended or upset by you taking it off?
Yeah, there was 1 or 2 members on the Democrat side that they kind of yelled at us, oh, you guys should be ashamed of yourself. And they wanted to get in our face for taking our masks off. But they didn't really want to have a real discussion about it because the facts really weren't on their side. The CDC said if you're vaccinated, go ahead and take off your masks. But this goes to something way larger than that. You see around the country right now, different states, different policies, but where the state agencies and city and council agencies are saying, you have to get vaccinated or you can't be employed here. You have to share your personal health information and tell us whether you have been or not, or you can't be employed here. Your kids, not knowing what the long-term effects are of this vaccination, we're going to make your kids get vaccinated or they can't go to school here. Third person in line to the presidency fundamentally believes that if you don't get vaccinated and don't wear a mask, that she should get to fine you as an American. That's what Pelosi is saying in this. This has far-reaching ripples across the breadth of this country to just fall in line with what Pelosi wants us to do, and we can't stand for that.
Yeah. Do you expect another fine coming your way?
I would anticipate, I'll say it this way. I think of it a little bit more like a speeding ticket. They have to catch me in order to fine me. And my goal is not to sit there and just be fined on the floor of the House of Representatives. I'll go out there, I'll vote, I'll move on, and I'll go somewhere else. But I'm not going to wear a mask when the CDC said you don't have to wear one. and it's ridiculous that they have any other expectation but this.
All right. Congressman Brian Mast of Florida joining us here live on National Report without his mask. Thanks, Congressman. We appreciate it.
Good to talk to you.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.